Hello everybody, it's me, your good friend Sparky, and welcome back to the Wii version of Pikmin. We are making another trip to the final trial, the final map of Challenge Mode, on what is going to be the final Pikmin 1 video. We have officially played through the GameCube version at this point, all the way, did the story mode in 10 days, did all of the challenge maps, and we've almost done the same for the Wii version, which is what we're going to be doing here today. As you can see, our high scores on the Wii version of the game are a bit better than they were on the GameCube version of the game, in the sense that they exist. Definitely they exist. But the final trial is just generally not an easy map to get a good high score on, from my experience. And, yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a task to even make that top 5, I think. But this is the finale to Pikmin, in general. So we got to try at least make it somewhat impressive. Maybe? So getting a top 5 score, I think definitely qualifies for that. Of course, this map is not without its weirdness, considering we start with 100 Pikmin, all scattered about the map, and we have to go find them in order to make use of them. Which is definitely different. It kind of makes me wonder what challenge mode would be like if more of them started off this way. And instead of just growing your Pikmin army from a minimum amount, you end up having to recruit them from across the map in general. But, yeah, it's just this one map, though, that does this weirdly. And for some reason, that dwarf Fullbear just refused to get stomped, and he ate one of our Pikmin. So we're already down 1 Pikmin from 100. Not a good start, but we'll manage to recover a little bit, I think. Just gotta kind of pick up stragglers and stuff from this beginning part here. It starts us off with just a few little scraps for us to deal with on the final trial here. And the main challenge is going to just come from finding our Pikmin and getting to the sort of final arena where the Emperor Bulblax was. It was not in the challenge mode version of the map, thankfully. That would be a nightmare to deal with all over again. Though in reality, the Emperor Bulblax fight is not the worst thing in the world. I can think of many final boss fights that are significantly more difficult. But in the Wii version in general, you can't really fight him that effectively without purposefully force-feeding your Pikmin into his mouth while they're holding bombs. So, it's just, in general, not a great idea. And this freaking Wollywog is just barely far enough away from us where he does not go after our Pikmin, where we throw them to that 5 pellet. But he is going to remain a constant looming threat. The sane thing would be to try and defeat the Wollywog and prevent him from causing us more torment. But in all actuality, since we can't really reliably go into the water with a large number of blue Pikmin to help us, reliably actually beating the Wollywog, as he very greedily eyes our Pikmin building that bridge like a psychopath. Just look at him wiggle. Even when they're not attacking you, I hate them. I hate looking at them. Yeah. Since we can't really reliably get a large number of blue Pikmin to fight him with, he's just generally not worth the headache and effort. But I mean, I suppose it still makes sense just trying to get him out of the way so he no longer tortures us. And yeah, getting him to, like, defeating him so he can get brought back to onions and he drops his pellets and stuff, it makes sense. But just in general, I try to ignore him when I'm here on the final trial. It's easy enough to do that. You don't have to worry too much about him. He's generally just kind of off to the side and out of the way. Just like barely not close enough where he doesn't bother everyone. So I guess that's something. Small favors. And the final trial in general, a lot of the obstacles that were here during story mode are also here in challenge mode. So we just have to try and just open up the way forward the same way we did previously. With the exception of the bomb rock gate, because that is no longer present. And, yeah. It's just mainly trying to open up the way to the final area, the, like, final boss fight arena. Because that's where a majority of, like, the really big pellets and stuff are. Will we be able to actually get there in enough time to get everything back? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The final trial is definitely not, my easiest map to deal with, honestly. In the Wii version here, we do get to see a potentially different strategy for dealing with this fire path situation. We can whistle Pikmin from the safety of the bridge instead of wandering under the water and lead them around this way. Whereas otherwise, just in general, you would have to wander through the water and wander under the bridge. I guess either way works well enough. There's not really a superior strategy as far as that's concerned, but, you know. Yeah. Here we are. The Emperor Bulblax's former home. Open real estate. I wonder if anybody's moved in yet. It seems there's a few Pikmin that we need to pick over that way, which would be all fine and dandy. Though, we do have to try and get to the Pikmin as soon as possible. Freaking frog. Just eyeing us. I hate it. We do have to try to get to our Pikmin while they're flowers to try and make as good of use of them as possible. Because if we take too long with it, the Pikmin actually do cycle back into seeds, and we have to wait for them to regrow to pick them again. And, that can be kind of an awkward time dealing with that. This whole map is awkward, honestly. It's a very tight map, it's very compact. There's not a lot of wiggle room here. And it's just generally ends up feeling like a bad time. And we can sort of get Pikmin up there. Maybe? It's a little too high up, I think. We did somehow manage to get one guy up there to grab that 10 pellet. Yeah. It's just dealing with sort of the weird awkwardness of this map. And, yeah, our planted Pikmin have cycled back into seeds at this point. So, the flowers that were previously there are gone. And, we need to wait for them to show back up. Also, there is one bomb rock gate that needs dealing with over there. And there is another one right here, but there's a 20 pellet back there, but it's a blue 20 pellet, so you need the reds to get to it because there's fire there, and it's just, like, generally ends up being kind of a hassle sort of situation where you're swapping Pikmin around, and it's just generally not worth the time, I guess. But I mean, I don't know, it's a pick your poison sort of thing, I suppose. What is worth your time more? Playing Pikmin swapping games, or just generally trying to navigate around kind of harrowing areas like this? Because there are a couple of large enemies that are going to be paying us a visit. Including one over here. Which I don't think I go for him just yet, but there is a friend up on that cliff. a friend in quotation marks. Let's try and repick our Pikmin, though, because they are back at this point. And another weird thing about the final trial is that it is just kind of a line in comparison to other maps. There's no real quick way to, like, you know, like, take a side path and get back to the dolphin and reclaim your Pikmin like in the other maps. So, it's just really, like, you have to go back and forth and back and forth. There he is. This is the friend I was talking about. It's a burrowing Snagret. He ate a bomb. It really did nothing. It killed a bunch of Pikmin in the process. This whole thing is a bad idea. This whole thing just ended up being a terrible idea. Fighting this burrowing Snagret, just take my advice. If you're doing challenge mode, this is not worth your time. This is not worth your time at all. Snagrets typically eat more Pikmin than they really return in defeat. And it's just not a good situation whatsoever. We've lost 15 Pikmin in this scenario, it looks like. If I'm mathing correctly, 85, yes, 15 Pikmin, that is the number. And all he gives us in return are a few 5 pellets and a bunch of 1 pellets. It is not worth the effort. Basically, those 3 5 pellets are our 15 Pikmin that we wasted fighting that guy. So, yeah, professional advice. If you're going for a good score on this particular map of challenge mode, my advice is don't deal with the Snagret. Just don't come up in this direction at all. It's just a 10 pellet, unless you can just sneak past him to get to the 10 pellets, I guess, and just hope your Pikmin walk by him without getting eaten. It's just generally not a good time or not a good thing to deal with. I don't know why I bothered, because I knew it was a bad idea at the time. But for some reason, I just decided to fight him anyway. It's like, I know Snagrets are just not worth dealing with in general. They are very durable. They very quickly eat Pikmin up while you're trying to fight them. And yeah, it's just bad times all around. We basically, that was like something like 7 1 pellets. We basically fought that Snagret and wasted our time. Since he ate 15 Pikmin in the process of fighting him, we've just like wasted our time for like a grand total of 14 extra Pikmin. Which there are many other locations on the final trial that are more worth your time. Like up here, for example. There's no enemies this way. There are no enemies whatsoever on this side of sort of the arena area. And there's a good friend who shows up in the middle of the arena that is actually much more worth your time in fighting. It's almost sundown, hurry up. Hi there, Beady Longlegs. How you doing? How's the wife? Oh, your wife was the one that we murdered in the Forest Naval? I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Well, if there's any good news of the situation, is that, we get to murder you too. Yeah. And this guy, generally, a lot easier to deal with. He's also a very durable enemy, of course. He is a boss-type enemy. And, he gives us 40 Pikmin's worth of pellets upon defeat. And is the Pikmin, just in general, survive much more easily while fighting the Beady Longlegs. So, it's like, why didn't I just fight the Beady Longlegs? Why did I fight the Snagret? I don't know. This could have gone so much better. But it is what it is. It is what we end up dealing with. It is the results that we end up accepting. Because that is over. The final trial, the final day, the final video of Pikmin has concluded. I probably could have concluded it better, honestly. But, yeah. I'd say it's one misstep in a very sort of successful run of 2 versions of Pikmin 1. So 2 successful runs. We do get a high score, we get 5th place. It's something. It's not a big deal. But yeah, just if you end up doing a challenge mode in Pikmin at any point, just don't do anything I did there and just do better. That is my advice. But that is going to conclude it for Pikmin 1 in general. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey. This was a very fun project to work on. I love Pikmin 1 to death. The Wii version is my favorite, but I do still have a great deal of respect for the GameCube version. I love both of them. And I hope you love them too. And I hope you try and go out of your way to try Pikmin for yourself now, because that would bring me great joy to bring this game a little more to the masses. But anyway, that's going to call it. This is your friend Sparky signing off. I will catch you in the next project. Have a good day, have a good night, wherever you are. I'll catch you later.